Hello, welcome to Digital Signal Processing online lecture series. Myself, Hima Rawal. Now, in this session, we are going to see the topic which is properties of discrete time system. So, in this session, we are going to see which are the basic properties that are to be checked for the given discrete time system. So, let's start with that. So first of all, let us see which are the properties that we need to check for a discrete time system. So here, first one is static and dynamic system. Second one is time variant and time invariant system. Third one is linear and nonlinear system. Next is causal and non-causal. And the fifth one is stable and unstable system. So these are the 5 system properties that we can check for a given discrete time system. Or according to that, we are going to perform the steps whether the given system function is static or dynamic, or time variant or time invariant, linear and non-linear, and so on. So let's understand each and every properties in detail. So first is static and dynamic system. So some systems have feedback systems and some do not have. That means whenever we see some system, we observe that there are some systems having feedback which we call as closed loop system, and in some system there are no feedback which we call as open loop system. So here, those which do not have feedback systems, their output depends only upon the present values of the input. So past values of the data is not present at that time. So this type of systems which are depending on the present system or the present input functions only are known as static systems. It does not depend on future values of the system. So basically, a static systems are those systems which depends only on the present values of the input only. If it depends on the past values or the future values, then it will become a dynamic system. So if we look at the basic difference between static and dynamic system, then we can say that static system only have the present inputs or depends only on the present inputs only, and in dynamic system it includes future or past values or a combination of both as well. Let us look at the examples. So first one here is y of n equals to x of n. So here in the bracket you see that x of n term is there. That indicates that it depends on the present values only. So here the output function is given as y of n and input is x of n. Then output depends only on the x of n value. That's why it states that it is the static system. Okay. Second one is like that. Y of n equals to 5 into x of n. Here 5 is a variable, but our input function, that is x of n, does not include any past or present values. That's why the second system is also a static system. Okay. Third one is y of n equals to 3 into x of n plus 10. Here the addition term has the 10 constant, and in multiplication to the input function x of n, there is another constant value 3. But for our system function to be static or dynamic, we need to concentrate on the x of n input function only. Here, to that input function, no derived element is there or no future values are there. So that's why we can say that this system is also a static system. Okay? You can say that in the bracket term, that is in x of n, if there is another term other than n, then the system will become dynamic. That means, let's say for example here n minus 2, n minus 3, n plus 5, such terms will be there. The system will become dynamic system. Now let's see the next one. Here the equation is y of n, that is equals to x of n plus 5 into x of n minus 1. So if you look at the first term, here in the bracket only n term is there. That means it depends on the present values only. But if you look at the second term, here that is n minus 1. That means it depends on the past values also. So that's why the system becomes dynamic system. Okay. Second one, y of n equals to 3 into x of n plus 3 into x of n plus 2. The first term has only present values, but the second term has n plus 2. It means advance, or else you can say future values of the input. That's why this system will also become a dynamic system. Okay. If you look at the next example, number 3, in that also we have the first term x of n, that depends on the present values of the input, but the second one has n minus 2, that means it has the delay values. It indicates that it depends on the past values, making it a dynamic system. Okay, this is how you can identify whether the given system function is static or dynamic. Alright, so from the above examples, we can draw the following conclusions. First one is that any system having time shifting is not static. Okay, that means whether it's time delay or time advance, it is not static system, it is dynamic system. Next one is that any system having amplitude shifting is also not static. Next is that integration and differentiation cases are also not static. Okay, that means these are the cases where the system will lead to a dynamic system. That we need to keep in mind to solve the further examples according to the given system function. Okay. Now let us see the time variant and time invariant system. So basically, as the name itself suggests, the time variant system are those systems which varies according to the time, and time invariant systems are those systems which do not vary or which do not change its output according to the time. So for a time invariant system, that means to which according to time output does not changes, the output and input should be delayed by some time unit. That means if you want to find that the given system function is time variant or time invariant, we need to apply the following logic. That means here if you observe, input is given x of t. For our case, it will be digital, that is x of n. Right? It is given to a system and output of which is denoted as y of t. Then this output is triggered by t samples to get y of t minus t. And at the same time, this input is given directly to the delay block of t to get x of t minus t, and then it is given to a system function to get another output, that is y of t minus t, which we denote as y dash of t. So in short, we can say that we need to find two cases for the system. That means for all the input functions, we need to apply the delay, and for the second case, whenever all the n elements are there, we need to give it delay. And then we need to compare these two to whether the system is time variant or time invariant. So to check this, we can perform the following steps. So here, step 1 is that delay the input by k samples, that is to obtain x of n minus k. So whenever the input functions are there, we need to delay it by k samples. Then step 2. Step 2 is that in the given equation of system y of n, we need to replace every n by n minus k. And we will denote it as y of n minus k. This step states that in the given system equation or the given system function, all the n are replaced by n minus k, whether it is for input or it is in the equation term. and we will denote it as y of n minus k. Now step number 3. After obtaining these two values, we will compare these two. That means y of n comma k and y of n minus k. If these two are equal, that means if both these values are equal, we can say that this is time invariant system. That means they do not change with time. Okay, so output will remain same. And if they are not equal, we can say that the system is time variant system. Okay, we will perform these steps while doing the examples to check whether the given system function is time variant or time invariant. Okay. Now next, linear and non-linear system. So first of all, the basic condition for a system to be linear is that it should follow the law of superposition. This law is necessary and sufficient condition to prove the linearity of the system. Apart from this, the system is a combination of two types of laws. First one is law of additivity and the second one is law of homogeneity. If these two laws are satisfied, then the given system will become linear system. Otherwise, it will be a non-linear system. Let us see the steps to check whether the system is linear or non-linear. So first main condition is that it must satisfy the superposition theorem. What is the first step? So here, to get the individual inputs, we will get the individual input function and it will be applied to the system to get the function which we will denote as y dash of n minus k. Step number 2 is that we have to apply the different signals and get the addition which will denote as y double dash of n minus k. In short, according to the given system function, we will take two different inputs and then we will apply to the system to get the final output. And for the second case, we will add two different inputs before applying to the system and then we will get the output according to that. Now step number 3 is that we will compare these two. That means if y dash of n minus k that is equals to y double dash of n minus k, the system will be linear, and if both are not equal, the system will be non-linear. This will be more clear to you when we will see the examples for this. Okay. Now, next one is causal and non-causal system. So basically, first one, what is causal system? So here, for the system to be causal system, it should be independent from the future values only. That means, past dependency will cause no problem for the system from becoming causal system. That means if we have seen the static and dynamic system carefully, then we know that in causal system it should be dependent only on present values only. If it includes past or future values, it will be dynamic system. But here, a system to be causal, it has nothing to do with past values. Okay? That means if a system function having present and past values, it will become a causal system. But it should not include future values. If it includes future values, it will not be a causal system. Now next one is non-causal system. So if a system depends upon the future values of the input at any instant of the time, then the system is said to be non-causal system. That means it can be a combination of present, future and past values also. But exactly modified version of this is called as anti-causal system. Okay? The system depends upon the future values of the input only. That means exactly opposite to that of causal, in which future values are not to be included. But if in the system only future values are present, we will call it as anti-causal system. Okay? So these are the types of systems for to be causal and non-causal system. Now, next is stable and unstable system. When we can say that the given system is stable and when we can say that the given system is unstable. So for a system to be stable, it must satisfy the BIBO condition, which stands for bounded input and bounded output. Here bounded means finite in amplitude. So for a stable system, output should be bounded, or you can say finite, for finite or bounded input at every instant of time. If the output becomes infinite according to the input, then the system will become unstable system. Remember that all the standard signals are stable systems. Okay? These are the references which can be helpful to you. Now, in the next session, we will see the examples based on these properties, which will make the concept of properties of discrete time system more clear to you. And you can relate how, according to the given system function, we can find out or check the properties. Okay? Thank you. Thank you for listening.